Today, another great class on contracts, but today's gonna be a little different because we are gonna do a buyer consultation. 92% of real estate agents actually work with buyers exclusively. 92% of agents. So imagine, out of 10 agents here, 9 of you are gonna be dealing directly and exclusively with buyers, which means we are probably gonna be doing a buyer consultation, some sort of appointment just to see if there's buyer motivation, if there's a true need for that family to buy a house. Because sometimes we feel that they need to buy a house only to realize that they're okay where they're at. And we sometimes force things. So, for those that are here, welcome, have a seat, take some notes, and just be ready to learn. And for those that are gonna be watching us on video, blessed to be here. Today we have a very special guest. I asked her and she kindly agreed to be my first time buyer, and it's our very own Haiti. So welcome.
Well, thank you.
You didn't know that you had volunteered, but I volunteered for you, so thank you for accepting.
Here I am.
So Haiti's gonna be my first time buyer, and I'm literally gonna be doing what would be a normal buyer consultation. So for those that are gonna be watching, for those that are here, welcome. Haiti, thank you so much first and foremost for coming into the office. What expectations do you have as far as, the buyer consultation? Because I know coming here to my office, driving, I'm sure you had a million questions. Like, should I do this? Are they gonna charge me? What are they gonna ask me? Are they gonna have me sign something? Oh my God, should I go back home? What do you want to accomplish today?
First and foremost, I want to make sure that everything's clear for me. That you explain everything, that it makes sense, and that I do not leave confused from this place.
So, how does that look like? You said, I want you to explain everything, I want everything black and white. What does that look like?
That everything's clear as far as when I leave, I will know if I'm ready or not to purchase a home.
I love it. So, let me ask you this. We met outside of the Cardenas in Paris, and I asked you some very simple questions. Do you happen to be a homeowner? And you continue to walk to your car, and you said no. And then I asked you a follow-up question. I said, hey, if you can buy a home, would you? And then you stopped and you said, well, yeah. And then I introduced myself. How long have you been thinking of buying a home?
For a few years.
Wow, for a few years. Yes. So what has happened that has prevented you from taking that step and taking massive action?
Yes, no one's really approached me. It's always, you see social media, but no one's actually taken the time to just, hey, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
That is unbelievable, because again, we as real estate agents, we should be educating the consumer. So I'm glad that my flyer and my questions resonated, and you were able to give me a few minutes of your time. So you mentioned a few years. What do you think has stopped you from buying a home?
Besides fear, probably the knowledge.
Okay.
I don't know the process. I don't know what it's required.
And I'm glad that you're here. And that's my main goal today is, like you said, for you to leave here having a very, very basic understanding as to what am I getting myself into? Does this make sense for me? Is this gonna benefit me? What do I need as far as documentation in order to apply for a mortgage?
Right.
What do I need to do? And is this gonna benefit me? Because if it doesn't benefit you, we have one of our Keller Williams model says win-win or no deal, which means that if it doesn't make sense for the client and it's not a win-win for the client, then we don't do anything. So if this is not gonna make sense for you, not just now, but in the long run, we leave it alone. So hopefully, hopefully it all makes sense. So are you currently renting?
Yes, I am.
Okay, what city do you live in?
I live in Marietta.
Marietta, okay. How long have you been renting?
For about 5 years.
5 years, wow, that's a long time.
It is.
Now, let me ask you, how much are we paying in rent right now?
We are at $2,800.
Wow, $2,800. So,
yes.
Are you paying the same amount of rent right now than you were 5 years ago?
No, it goes up $100 every year.
So every year rent goes up?
Yes.
Okay, so do you think rent will be the same now than in 5 years?
Oh no, it's gonna continue to go up.
It's going to continue to go up.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you think home prices were less 5 years ago or now?
I'm not sure. I don't know. People say a lot of things,
I know.
rates, pricing, so I don't even know anymore. I'm lost.
Okay, and I'm glad that you feel this way because we're gonna unravel all the myths and the social media mysteries. You hear a lot of stuff on social media, and a lot of times it's just a bunch of noise. A lot of times I see videos from people that have absolutely no clue about real estate, and they're misinforming our beloved communities. And it saddens me that a lot of these buyers that could be buying are not buying because they saw a video from somebody that's never owned a house. So I'm glad that you're here. Believe me, I'm glad that you're here. So you mentioned that you live in Marietta. You've been renting for 5 years. You're renting at almost $2,800, and every year it keeps going up. When you think of home ownership, how does that make you feel?
I think that's the American dream.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
So when you imagine and visualize yourself buying or owning a home, is that a good feeling?
Oh yes, I get excited, very excited.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited do you get?
Oh, like a 10 plus.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. So, if you could buy a home, where do you think you would want to buy it?
I was thinking probably Temecula.
Temecula. Okay. Now, what is important to you? Like, what is the reason why you would love to buy a home? Because there's got to be a why. People don't just wake up and decide, I want to buy a house. I mean, it's the biggest purchase you'll ever make in your life. So why is this important to you?
For my family. Yeah, our home.
Our home, family. To me,
Our home.
you just said something that resonates with me because to me, there's nothing more important than familia. So
Exactly.
tell me about your family.
Okay, so 5 girls and a husband, and my parents live with me,
Okay.
and 1 dog,
One dog. What's your dog's name?
Roxy.
Roxy. You know what? I used to have a dog named Roxy. She was a sweetheart. So we need some space.
Yes.
We need a backyard for Roxy. You got 5 girls. What are their ages?
5, 8, 10.
Do we have a couple of teenagers?
Yes.
So they probably need their space.
Yes, you do.
How do I know? Because I have 2 teenagers, and before they were teenagers, they wanted their space. So I understand where you're coming from. So we can both agree that familia is everything.
Of course.
So when you think of having a home that can accommodate familia and be able to maybe have family gatherings, how does that make you feel?
Oh, it's super exciting.
It's exciting. So if you can buy a home, would you?
Yes, I would.
Okay. And besides the fear and the lack of knowledge about the process, is there anything else that has prevented you from buying?
No, because I have a good job,
Okay.
and my husband has a good job, so
Good, awesome.
we're good.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, how long have we been at our job?
About 5 years.
5 years. I'm actually going to be taking notes because I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. You said 5 years. Now, what about your husband? How long has he been at the job?
About 15.
Oh wow, that's stability.
Yes.
There's a lot of people that don't last at the job 3 days, let alone 15 years. So I'm so happy.
Oh, yes.
Now, your motivation for buying, obviously, it's family. It's hopefully to be able to leave a legacy.
Correct.
So you mentioned Temecula. What challenges have you faced when thinking of buying? Besides the fear and the lack of knowledge, is there anything else that has stopped you from, doing what we're doing now, which is a buyer consultation?
No, not anything I can think of off the top of my head right now.
Okay. Has anybody sat down with you and your family to do what I'm doing now?
Never.
And by the way, this is what I hear. Nobody has done this. And I'm like, OMG, what are we doing as realtors? Okay, back to the programming. What have you heard about the process of buying a home? 'Cause
It's a nightmare, it's a long process, that everything that could possibly go wrong will go wrong, that it's just, they require too much. So all of these things are just things, okay, I don't want to.
So when you hear that,
Stressful.
it makes you not want to start the
Exactly.
process. You want to avoid it probably.
Yes, I do.
And I'm sure we all feel the same way. And to an extent, it might be true if you hire the wrong real estate professional, if you hire the wrong lender, if you're taking advice from somebody that's never owned a home. I always tell people, listen, never take,
That's a good point.
I'm telling you, never take advice of home ownership from somebody that's never owned a home, because they've never walked that path.
Right.
And another thing, I'm very big on the power of manifestation. If you manifest that it's gonna be a nightmare, guess what? We're halfway there. If you manifest, hey, I'm gonna meet a really good real estate agent that's gonna walk me through the process. They're probably gonna refer me to a very good lender that knows different loan programs. And even though I've never done this, they're gonna guide me every step of the way. You're manifesting that. So now you see how I'm a little bit different.
So you're not the lender, you're just.
I'm actually a licensed real estate broker. So what I do is, hopefully all of this makes sense and you're like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I want to buy a house. What's next? Then the next portion or the next process would be to put you and your husband in contact with a mortgage professional. And they're going to ask you guys the questions about finances, a little deeper into how long you've been at the job, how much do you make, how often do you get paid, how does your debt look like, you know, all of that. I don't need to know. I just need to know the basics so that I can say, you know what, based on our conversation, you guys would be great candidates to talk to a lender.
Got it.
You know, and once the lender approves us and says, hey, congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, you guys are ready to go search for a home. Then your husband, you and I are gonna sit down and go over what inventory is available in the cities that you guys are considering. So you mentioned Temecula. What other two cities would be right at the top?
Temecula, Murrieta, Wildermore.
Okay. So if in our price range there's nothing in Marietta, you guys would consider the other two.
Yeah.
Obviously Marietta is the first one.
Yeah.
Perfect. So here comes the fun part. Describe your home. And remember, you've never owned a home, right?
Correct.
So this is going to be your starter home. It might not necessarily be your forever home. I know we want that Escalade fully loaded, but I'm trying to get you guys into a car.
Okay.
So how many bedrooms do we have right now?
Right now we have 3.
We have 3. But we for sure need at least 4 or 5.
Yes.
Can we work with at least a 4-2, if possible?
If possible, but we would prefer 5-3.
5-3, okay, 5-3. And besides you and your husband, is there anybody else that's going to be buying with you both?
No.
And you mentioned that we have 5 daughters. Do we want single story or upstairs too?
Upstairs too.
Upstairs,
Yeah.
okay. Do we need a bedroom downstairs? Because you mentioned, I believe mom lives with us, or mom and dad?
Yes.
So for sure we're gonna need a bedroom downstairs, right? Just,
Definitely.
because the stairs, I
Yes.
mean, I'm not a senior yet, but sometimes my knees kind of
Oh, yeah.
buckle. So what else is important to you in a home?
I want to have, it must have a 3-car garage.
Okay. Why?
Because some of the teens are already driving, so we.
Driving you crazy or driving?
Both.
Okay, let me put that down. Teens, don't watch this. You mentioned that you are renting, so you don't need to sell a home. Now, one of the most important questions I'm about to ask you right now, what do you think would be a comfortable payment for you and your family? Because you and your husband could get approved for $2 million. It doesn't mean we want to buy a house that's $2 million.
Right.
So what do you think would be a comfortable mortgage payment?
I would say up to 3,700
$3,700.
is the max,
Now, is that without including utilities?
without utilities.
Now, if I see a home that checks all the boxes, but the payment might be 41, would you like me to show it to you?
No.
Okay. Why do I ask? Because what if there's a house and I'm like, this is the house of their dreams, but it's not 3,700. I'm asking her for permission because I don't want her to tell me, how come you didn't show me this one? Oh my God. I'm asking her for permission right off the bat. So, you know, she mentioned what is the payment that you can afford. Now, you and your husband, you guys happen to be veterans?
No.
Okay. Because if you would, I would have first and foremost would have said, thank you for your service, and we can potentially buy a home with no money down with our VA certificate of eligibility. Have we talked to a lender, a bank, about anything that has to do with a mortgage, or nothing yet?
Never.
So I'm the first person that you get to talk to.
Yes.
Hopefully I'm the last. If we can find a home that is at least 4 bedrooms, ideally 5 and 3, is there anything that would stop you and your family from buying it? Why am I saying this? If I get you pre-approved, I find you the home that checks all the boxes, is there anything that's going to prevent you from pulling the trigger? Because if she says, I'm still waiting on Christmas from 2029, why am I going to sacrifice my weekends? But if she says, oh, you find me that home with that payment in Marietta, man, I'm putting an offer today. Great, okay. So is there anything that would stop you from buying if we find all the wants and needs and a payment that you guys are comfortable with in the city, and it has a bedroom for mom and dad?
Well, it depends, because
Okay.
I want to speak, to my parents as well and see how they feel about it.
I'm gonna charge them rent.
Of course not.
Put that in there. Now I'm gonna ask you some questions that have to do with finances, not necessarily because I wanna be a lender, but I just wanna make sure that, again, all of this makes sense for you and your family. Have we filed our taxes over the last 2-3 years?
Yes.
A lot of agents don't ask that. Now, it doesn't mean that we're doing anything wrong. I just wanna know before I put you in contact with a lender, because if you say, Ulysses, I haven't filed my tax in 20 years, Houston, we might have a problem. I'm not pretending to be a lender. I just want to know where we stand. She's going to be like, man,
Qualifying them before.
that's the whole point.
Send
Absolutely.
it to the lender.
Yeah, because then the lender's going to say, hey, bro, your client hasn't filed taxes in 20 years. What are you sending me? Next you know, Demetrius is not going to pick up the phone next time I call him. He's going to say, man, you sent me some clients that, no. I'm going to show you how to pre-qualify next time. So I want to know where we stand. So this is part 2 of my questionnaire. Have we filed our taxes over the last 2-3 years?
Yes, we have.
Fantastic. Do we have any IRS debt?
No.
Great.
Okay.
What do you think your FICO score or your credit score is? They call it FICO because there's 3 credit bureaus, and they usually eliminate the highest and the lowest, and the middle one is the one that counts. That's what they call it, the mid FICO.
Oh, I have no idea. I haven't checked my credit in about 3 years.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Do you think it might be in the mid 600s? Maybe?
I hope so.
Okay. We'll find out. Don't worry. Is there anything on your credit report that you think might prevent you from qualifying? Great question.
Well, I had a repo about 7 years ago.
Okay. But it was 7 years ago. And since then, have you guys had any cars financed?
We did.
And we're paying them well?
Yes.
Okay. Where's our down payment coming from? Is it coming from like a 401k?
A 401k.
Perfect. Now, what questions do you have for me so far? Is this being helpful?
Oh, very, very helpful.
Okay. What questions do you think you might have?
Okay, so you said you would connect me with a lender.
Correct.
So how long is that process?
Great question. So let's say you leave here. I want you to talk to your husband since he wasn't able to be here because he works. Let him know that we met. Let him know, and if he has any questions, he can call me directly. Once you both give me the green light, like, hey, we're excited. We want to know what's next. I can connect you with a few lenders that I work with. I work with some of the best ones in the business. I've been doing this for 21 years. And the next step would be connecting with a lender, and then he or she will ask you some financial questions like how much do you make, what are some debts, tell me about that repo, just more in-depth questions about your finances and debt. That could literally be done today or tomorrow. If you call your husband or you meet with your husband and you tell him, hey, appointment went well, man, I'm excited, I think we should do this. He can call me and reassure himself that you guys are doing the right thing. And if you both say, okay, well, what's next? We're ready. Then I'll do the introduction with a lender business partner, and we can kind of take it from there. Then we meet. Great question. I love the fact that we're already manifesting what we want. I love it. So let's say we fast forward the story, we get pre-approved for an amount.
Okay.
Then we meet, and based on the cities that you both gave me, I'm going to see what inventory is available. so that we can now we start looking at homes on the weekends or whenever you and your husband are available. So let's say we get approved for 700,000. I would love to stay maybe 660, 670 and below. Because, great question, in case we do love that house and there's multiple offers, we may have to offer a little bit more than list price in order to potentially compete. If I show you properties at your peak and they asked, is this your highest and best? We have nothing else to go up. So it's always good to have a little bit of a gap.
And how would I know how much down payment I need?
Great question. Have you purchased a home ever?
No.
Okay, so an FHA loan requires 3.5%. So since we have our board right here, let's say 400,000, and this is just for informational purposes. 3.5% of this would be about 14,000. So if we want a 600,000 home, then it'll be 21K. That would be our down payment. Now, besides down payment, there's another set of fees that's called closing costs. Closing costs are the fees related to lender fees, origination fee, appraisal, upfront property taxes, etc.
What is an appraisal?
Great question. An appraisal, it's actually a professional opinion of what somebody feels a house is worth. Because if you're not buying a house cash, we're gonna need a loan. And the bank is only gonna lend us based on what the house is worth. So we put an offer on a house at 600,000, but the appraisal comes back at 570. Guess how much money they're gonna lend you? 570. Which means that now we have a gap of what? 30,000. Which means that hopefully I am your real estate agent. I will get to negotiate that 570 price so that you and your husband don't have to pay that $30,000 difference. An inexperienced agent will be like, man, you need to pay that 30,000. An experienced broker like me will negotiate that lower fee so that all you have to worry about is your down payment. Now, in a market like the one we have right now, we can still negotiate. What do you think happens when the interest rates drop? Because you mentioned rates and all that.
Yeah, well, that was one of my next questions, like how are the rates, like how does that affect my payment?
Great question. So rates are very relative to your current income, debt. The higher the credit score, the lower the risk, because banks evaluate the probability of a risk. And the higher the credit score, the less likely they're gonna foreclose on you. The lower the rate, the bigger of a risk.
And what if I don't have a lot of credit cards and anything like under my name, just the
That's
rent?
fine. That's fine. I mean, it's not how much credit you have, but whatever you have, how well you're paying it. I see a lot of people with a ton of credit cards, but they're all maxed out. So it's not how much money you get to make per month, but how much you get to keep at the end of the month after you pay everything and everyone. So it does. And in a market like the one we still have, we can still have the seller of the home that you will be buying help you with the closing costs. When the rates drop, do you think more people want to buy or less people want to buy?
I think they want to buy because that's all I hear, on social media, that the rates are too high, rates are dropping,
rates. Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, I was so confused, like, what does that mean?
Well, I'm glad you brought it up. So let's say the interest rate right now is at 7%, which is not. But let's say the interest rate is at 7%. Do you think we'll have more people buying or less people buying?
Probably less.
And do you think that'll be a good time to buy or not a good time to buy?
I mean, if it's less people, I would say it would be best to buy.
Exactly. And I'll tell you why. Because we're going to be able to negotiate more stuff on your behalf. Because the seller has what? More offers or less offers? Less offers.
Less.
So that means that when they finally get an offer from Haiti, they're going to want to pay your closing costs. If there's repairs needed, they're going to want to pay the repairs. But when the seller has 40 offers on the table, do you think they're going to want to pay $21,000 plus a $14,000 roof plus a home warranty? They're going to be like, no, if you don't like it, I'll pick another offer. Why? Because everybody was so focused on the rate instead of the competition that just created. So that's why I always tell agents, clients, listen, I know that you're focused on the rate because That's what you get to hear on TV, on social media. The rates are so high. But if you're waiting for the rates to drop, so are hundreds of thousands of people. Now you're gonna have 70 families competing against the same house in Marietta. That is not good news if I'm you. Because now if I needed help with closing costs, now guess where that's gonna have to come from? Your 401k. That money that you had saved up for painting and repairing, and now you're gonna have to use some of that. And now, the appraisal gets done and they say that roof is leaking, that water heater needs to be replaced. Guess what the seller's gonna say? I'm not doing it. And if you don't like it, you can cancel because I have other 30 offers waiting. So hopefully all of this makes sense and we don't listen to the negative noise on TikTok and all those videos that are misinforming instead of educating. Does it make sense now about the rates?
That makes sense, yes.
Okay. I also want to go over the do's and don'ts when buying a house. Nobody is talking about this, and my goal is to educate you.
Okay.
So that when you go back home and talk to your husband, you're like, by the way, here are the things that Ulysses, our broker, told us not to do. Keep working the same amount of hours. If you work per hour, don't work less. Because if we're going to talk to a lender, they have to average out your hours, your wages. If you're used to working 40 hours plus overtime, and all of a sudden you start working 20 hours, guess what that's going to do to your income?
It's gonna go down.
Correct.
Okay.
Stay in the same position or better with more pay. Like, don't go from a truck driver to a nurse, because you need 2 years of employment. And a lot of times people change literally careers, which is fine. Just don't do it while you're trying to buy a house, because now they're gonna say, great, congratulations, I know you wanna be a nurse. You're gonna go from XYZ income to a whole lot more. But by the way, ma'am, now you gotta wait 2 years, because we don't know if this nurse gig is gonna work out. You'll be like, oh my God.
What did I do?
And I've seen it, by the way, I've seen it. Keep paying all those credit cards and car payments on time, because we often don't realize that credit card or that car payment will do to our credit. Be smart with your money and don't overspend. I always tell people, listen,
That's tough.
it is, I know it is, especially when we're Latinos and Hispanics and we wanna, showcase the life, like, hey, I've made it, look at my watch, look at my $1,000 shoes, even though I have $1 in my pocket. We want to keep up with the Joneses. And the goal is to be rich, not look rich. If applicable, pay down your credit cards at least 15% of the balance. So if you have a credit card of $1,000, have at least $150 to $200 of balance. Most people have $1,000 credit card, they owe $900. So what's their debt to income ratio? 90%. We gotta be at about 45, just so that you can kind of get a perspective. Don't make large cash deposits, because remember, everything that goes into your bank account has to be verified. If you get direct deposit, well, that's your job. Okay, great. But if you all of a sudden you go to the bank and you deposit 21 grand, they're gonna say, where did that money come from? I sold the car, where's the bill of sale? I inherited that money, from who? Is it clean money? Is it dirty money? I don't know. And if it cannot be sourced, the lender cannot use it as your down payment.
And how would so when it comes down to use my 401k, how is that gonna be processed?
Great question. So you just let your HR department know that you're gonna be buying a house. And when we start submitting offers, we can send them a copy of the purchase agreement so that they know how much your down payment is and how much we have to borrow. And if you need me to get involved with giving them any information, I will gladly do that. Don't change employment. Another one of the don'ts we talked about. Don't quit just because they're giving you a hard time and they're making life miserable. If you want to quit, don't do it now, especially when you're buying a house. Don't open new credit card accounts, because every new account is another opened credit, and that may lower your credit score. Don't co-sign for anyone. Even if you have brothers and sisters and they tell you, please, if I'm gonna buy a car, I need your signature, don't worry, you don't have to pay it. Well, guess what? You're still responsible for that car if they don't make the payment. They're gonna go after you and your credit. So sometimes it's okay to say no.
Got it.
Because you gotta put your credit first. In this country, having a 700-800 credit score is more valuable than having rich parents. Don't increase any credit card balances. Don't call Chase and say, hey, listen, I know you gave me a $5,000 credit limit 5 years ago, but I kind of need more. I've been paying you guys on time. Yeah, we're gonna increase it to 15. Well, that $10,000 increase just lower your credit score, because now you have more debt. Do not withhold any information from your lender or your real estate agent. Believe me, I've seen it. If you're buying a house and you want to buy a house with an FHA loan, by the way, they will run the credit of the spouse. Oh, I didn't think it was important. I'm thinking if
Is
you're
that only for FHA or?
FHA and VA. And I said, I'm thinking of myself, man, if your spouse was here and you just said, I don't think it was important, how would he or she feel?
Even if he's confined by himself.
Yeah, well, yeah, but now because he was going through an FHA loan, the lender's like, I gotta run the credit of the wife. And by the way, the wife has like $20,000 in debt. Yeah, and I'm like, oh. We heard credit cards, I don't know, I don't see anybody, but maybe credit cards, I don't know. True story, by the way, I'm not making this up. Has this been helpful? Like, has this given you a better perspective as to why should I buy? Does this make sense? Because I always tell families, listen, home ownership is not for everybody. And when I say that, they're like, oh my God, that sounds kind of harsh. Maybe he doesn't want me to buy a house. No, I do. But I also want to give you the pros and cons about buying a home. What are the pros of buying a home? That home is going to go up in value in time. What are the cons? When that water heater breaks down, you can't call the landlord because you are the landlord. The roof starts leaking. Oh shoot! You got to get a roofer. The toilet got clogged up. You got to call a plumber. Oh my God, I'm running out of money. Yeah, it will happen. So I don't want to just paint a beautiful picture of sunshine and rainbows and be like, oh my God, you'll never have to deal with an issue. No, it will happen because it's happened to me. But there's been more blessings than heartaches.
Right.
But I'm glad that we did, because nothing ever made more sense, and nothing ever put my family and I in a position to create a legacy like you want to do. So when people tell me, what do I need to buy a house? They laugh at me when I give them the answer, and I tell them, listen, there's a word in Spanish called ganas, which in English is desire. If you don't have the desire, I can't help you. You can have a 800 FICO score, you can have 20% in the bank, I can have the property for you, but if you don't want to buy it, I can't help you. So now that we've gone through the pros and cons, the do's and don'ts, what's credit, the process, talking to a lender, is this something that you feel like, okay, you know what, I think this is what I want to do? What do you think?
It doesn't sound like a nightmare now. It
You
seems
see?
like, okay, maybe it is possible to start the process.
Absolutely it is, and it's only a nightmare if they don't educate you. It's a nightmare when the wrong person is trying to lead you. It's a nightmare when we're taking advice about home ownership from somebody that's never owned, because now they're just pulling information out of TikTok, out of what they heard from their uncle 30 years ago, and the market changes all the time. What are some of the things that you feel might be an out-of-pocket expense when buying a home? There's only two of them actually. A home inspection and the appraisal that you mentioned. When buying a home, you need your down payment. But the two out-of-pocket things that you gotta worry about is your home inspection, which is about $300 to $500 depending on the square footage of the home, and the appraisal, which is about $500 to $700. Those two things are non-refundable. So if you cancel the escrow, that money's not going back. So it could be up to $1,000. And I always tell clients, don't put offers on houses that you don't see yourself living in it. Because if we back out of an escrow and I get you into another one and you back out of another one, you could be out of $3,000 to $5,000. But if we really want to buy a house, those are the only two things you got to worry about. And your down payment, once we open escrow, a portion of this you're going to wire to escrow, which is usually 1% of this. So maybe on a $600,000 house, maybe about $6,000.
Okay.
And then the rest before we close escrow.
Got it.
And before we close escrow, we're going to do what's called a final walkthrough of the house to make sure that it's in the same condition as when we saw it. Make sure there's no broken windows, make sure the AC unit wasn't stolen, make sure there's not a squatter. By the way, I've seen it in vacant houses, but because I've been in the business for 21 years, I'm going to guide you and your husband every step of the way so that you guys know what's next. What's next? Because that's the $1 million question that I get asked. Ulysses, what's next? I'm gonna
That's
paint the
gonna be
picture.
me.
That's fine. And I hope that I get a call not just from you, but your husband, because guess what? You guys are gonna have a million questions. And it's okay. I expect you both to have questions. If there's no questions being asked, I'm gonna wonder. I want you guys to ask questions.
Okay.
Because this is gonna be the biggest purchase of your life. So based on all of this, once we get you and your husband pre-approved, we're gonna come back again, and then we're gonna sign some forms authorizing me, hopefully, to be your real estate broker so that I can negotiate on your behalf. There's no point in doing it now because this was a discovery call. This was a discovery appointment. There's no need for you to commit to me when I haven't given you a reason to commit. I'm giving you value. If it all makes sense, then we get you pre-approved. Then once we have a pre-approval letter, then we meet so that hopefully you and your husband are like, man, we're ready to rock and roll. We'd love for you to take us to home ownership. Then I'm gonna be like, okay, I just need these forms acknowledged. I need your autograph so that you can give me authorization to negotiate on your behalf, submit offers. This is my fee. And by the way, my fee, I'm gonna negotiate the seller to pay for it.
Oh, okay.
So that only you guys have to worry about your down payment. My fee is gonna be paid for by the owner of the house that you and your family are gonna buy.
Oh,
So you mentioned that you wanted everything black and white, right?
Yes.
So even though that appointment hasn't happened, I'm already manifesting that hopefully I will get hired. And when we do, then I'm gonna go over those forms with you and your husband.
Oh, okay. That's
So far, so good?
So far, so good. I like
So
that.
what do you think? Now, has the motivation to buy a house, has it gone still at 10 or is it still like a -2 or
No,
where are we?
it's still high.
It's still high.
The motivation's there.
So based on everything that we talked about, I want you to go back to your husband, talk to him about what we talked about, and maybe either today or tomorrow, you guys can give me a ring and say, hey, we're ready to talk to your lender. Like, we're ready to get the ball rolling.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah,
You
I'll
think
speak
that'll
to
sound
him,
good?
and I will reach out to you.
Well, I'm thankful. I'm thankful that you know you took action, and I know you were stressed driving over here, and you had a bunch of questions, and you probably wanted to go back home and text me. I can't make it, but I'm glad you did.
Oh yeah, it crossed my mind.
Well, I read your mind because guess what? Most buyers feel the same way. So, looking forward to hearing from you tomorrow, maybe today, but you know tomorrow we'll connect at the very least, and hopefully we'll get the process started and you know get the process of homeownership going.
Sounds
You
good.
ready to do this?
Yes.
Let's do this.
Let's do this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Boom. How did it go? That's literally the buyer consultation, and